Hi everyone, happy Autistic Pride, and I really hope you've been enjoying the stream so far. My name is Jess Benton, and I'm a young autistic activist, young autistic advocate here in the UK, pretty much trying to raise the profile of Autistic Pride, but also autistic inclusion in the workplace, particularly in local government, which is the sector in which I work. And today, for my section in Autistic Pride, which I was kindly invited to take part in, I thought it'd be really cool to share something that I've been working on throughout the pandemic, and something I think would relate quite strongly to autism acceptance and autistic pride for a lot of people. And I am going to show you how to do a autistic pride inspired makeup look. This is inspired from similar sort of looks I've seen on kind of TikTok and Instagram and things like that. But I wanted to put my own autistic pride spin on it. And while we're at it, also kind of talk a bit about how makeup may relate to autistic pride for me, really, and hopefully you see some of the similarities too, and maybe that inspires you to kind of get creative in your own ways as well. So as you can see, I've kind of got my foundation and everything ready to go, so that's all kind of done and ready, and we can get into the good part, which is the eyeshadow, the colours, the really the look itself, which will be kind of red and gold inspired based off kind of like the Autistic Pride look. So I am going to get started with the first bit I want to show you, and I will have a little bit of a ramble along the way about what Autistic Pride means to me and how this makeup kind of really relates to it. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just start with a little bit of a base eyeshadow colour before getting into the main look. In case you're interested, I'm going to be using this black shade, this one. And I'm just going to go in with a little brush, just pack some on there, and I'm going to be looking here to my mirror, and I'm just going to start by packing some of that onto the lid. And the cool thing about this as well is that you can kind of change the colours as you want to with this look, and you'll see what I mean as we go along, which is kind of really what inspired me to sort of take it up. To be honest, with makeup and autism acceptance, I know you might be thinking, Jess, how does any of this relate to autism acceptance? And that's a fair question. And I think for me, it comes in kind of different ways, and I'll kind of get into different stages as I go along with the makeup. But I think one of the first things for me is really sort of thinking about how one defines their own identity, really. And that's kind of what Autistic Pride is really all about. It's about us defining ourselves and about us loving ourselves. I'm just going to take a little makeup wipe and just clean it up a little bit there. That's it. Okay, and I'm just going to go in with the other eye as well. Something some of you might find easier as well as you're doing this is to actually use your finger to apply some of the shadows and some of the shimmers as we go along. There's really no right or wrong way of doing some of these things. So we're just going to pack that on, blend it in a little bit. Go back in with a little bit more on this side. There we go. So that's kind of our base look sort of done. It's okay if it's messy, because we'll be kind of getting into sort of the outer part right here. As you can see, my eyes are quite small and they're quite hooded and lidded. So you can kind of adapt this into whatever ways might prefer for you. So we are going to start with our butterfly wings on the edges of the eye. And each one is going to be a gold one and a red one. So I'm going to start with the red wing, and I'm going to be using these colours. So I'm going to be using this one for the red butterfly wing, and this one for the gold butterfly wing as my base colours. And I'm going to take some of this one on my finger, just to start to make the shape of the wing. And I kind of prefer to use my finger for this because it's quite bright colours and you just tend to get a bit more payoff with the colours when you do it this way. And if you want to tidy it up a bit as we go, I can show you how to do that in a moment. So I'm just going to check in my mirror here as well. And the beauty of this as well is if it's messy, it's messy. It's your own art at the end of the day and your own celebration. And that's really what this kind of makeup is all about. In Autistic Pride for me, is that it's about kind of embracing your own individuality, and it relates quite a lot to masking to me as well. In the general beauty industry and in the kind of the makeup industry, who's the first sort of people that we think of? Generally, we think of people like the Kardashian sisters, Jeffree Star, James Charles, some of these really big names, and there's a lot of trends to follow, particular ways of doing things, and particular ways you're kind of expected to make your body look. Like, I never really understood the whole contouring the nose to make it look skinnier thing. Never quite understood that. And it's, in a way, quite symbolic of how neurotypical rules have always kind of seemed to me and neurotypical society. But to be honest, it's hard not to succumb to all of that when you are really kind of bombarded by it and you're surrounded by it. It feels very, very similar when you're exploring makeup and the makeup industry as well. So I'm done just about with that red wing base. So now I am going to go in with the yellow. There we go. That's so colourful. So we're going to just shape out the yellow. I generally prefer to do this with my finger because I have some kind of dyspraxic tendencies as well that generally go with my autistic symptoms. It can sometimes be harder for me to kind of control a brush to kind of get it in the shape that I want, especially when I'm doing something very shaped like this. But you can pretty much do this whatever way you want to. You can do it with a brush. You can just go in painter's style, finger painter style, like I am, and just get it done with your finger. I think either way works just as good. Just do this bottom wing here. And the whole idea of this really is to not worry so much, like erase the fact or erase the belief that just like with kind of confining yourself to neurotypical social norms, like confining yourself to makeup norms, that you kind of have to follow all the rules that you think you do to be successful and to be embraced. You do not. You can do things however you want. sort of like how I'm doing here, because this is quite asymmetrical. It's quite messy, but that is okay. So I'm just getting done with splotching on the yellow. Hopefully you can see that. So there's my basic wing shapes. I am going to add a little bit more definition to both of them now. I'm going to add a little bit of gold shimmer to the yellow one to really kind of give it the gold, this one. And I'm going to go in with my finger again. And just start to pat that on. And this is all going to depend on how much detail you want to add with your wings as well. You might want to choose to do it a bit of a different way than I do. So just packing that on like that. And just keep going with that until you're sort of happy with the level of shimmer and glitter you've got on there. I like a lot, personally. There we go. And I'm going to add some red shimmer as well. I've got this cream eyeshadow for that one. And once again, I'm just going to go in a little bit with my finger. And just again, just pat it on, just dab and swipe a little bit. And if you find yourself going a little bit directionless or a little bit overboard, just take a semi-wet or a dry makeup wipe and just clean it up a little bit, like I've just done. As Bob Ross, I believe, once said, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. And that's really the philosophy I take with this, especially relating to autistic pride and autism acceptance. But now time for the scary part, eyeliner. So I'm going to try and use this liquid eyeliner to just sort of define the shape of the wings a bit more and add a little bit more detail. I'd like to say as well, if liquid eyeliners, I've been practicing with these, don't always get it right, but we're going to try. And if that you don't find that works for you, especially if you've kind of got quite shaky hands, you can use a black eye pencil crayon as well. Works just as good. So I'm going to have a go. I'm making this a little challenge for myself. I'm going to just start to define the line here. Okay. There's the first wing. And a little bit more. And you can always go back in and just sort of correct and add more colour where you want to as you go along. So there's the first one. Don't think I did too bad a job with that one. And we're going to go in with the second one. And this one's on my non-dominant side, so this one might be a little bit trickier. Just confident sweeps, drag it straight out. Excellent, excellent. A bit closer to the eye. And well, that's quite a big line. Okay, okay. Don't think I did too badly there. And just to add a little bit of definition to that as well, if you want, you can stop here if you want to, but I like playing around with this. I like adding some of the messier details. So I am just going to start adding some smudgy lines to my butterfly. And just here too. And I'm just going to draw some lines going downwards as well. Just for a little bit of that extra gothy emo sort of look, which I'm into. And I think the reason that this has become so meaningful and relatable to autism acceptance for me as well is the fact that you can see I'm wearing foundation, you can see I'm wearing blush and different things. And I think that almost relates to masking again in a way, because we're often so bombarded with expectations and defining ourselves to those expectations and how other people should see us, that sometimes we just forget almost the magic of letting things be sometimes. The foundation's a good example, because I remember even before this video getting set up, I found it such a difficult thing to just be satisfied with how the foundation looks. But here's the thing, makeup will always look like makeup, it won't look like skin. And I almost see it's the same way as kind of truly embracing your autistic, authentic self. And yeah, that's obviously hard to do in a world that's filled with discrimination against us. It really is. But I think also part of what we need to think about as a community, just my personal opinion, I'm gonna line the waterline with my eye crayon. The magic of letting things be, allowing ourselves to define ourselves is important, and embracing autistic pride is incredibly important, and defining ourselves. But we must also love the world around us, I think, to allow it and other people to define themselves too. And that's something I think I've really learned in the past year or so, especially getting even more into the autistic community and coming across people from other communities that I'd never met before, learning much more about that intersectionality. So I've done the waterline, I've got my goth emo look of my dreams. We're going to, finally, I'm just going to do a little bit of red lipstick, because why not? And principle's sort of the same. If you find yourself going overboard, you can just go back in, clean it up a little bit. No harm, no foul. Okay, and for a little bit of extra pizzazz, I'm going to add some glitter to the lips, because it's Autistic Pride. Why wouldn't I? It really is a celebration, and a celebration that's meant so much to me, and is the reason that I'm able to get on camera and even do this, because I'm, you can probably tell, in no way a makeup artist or a beauty guru, not even close. But the fact that I have this wonderful community, and this community of people like me who know and understand that I'm going to be held to different expectations and different things is such a powerful thing. And it allows me a chance to free myself of the expectations of the neurotypical world and really embrace my true self. You need people around you who love you to do that. And I'm lucky to have made so many friends in the autistic community. And equally, as much as loving myself is a journey, it's also a journey to allow yourself to make mistakes, to allow yourself to let others define themselves too. As a bit of a finishing touch, just gonna add some mascara. Confident sweeps. Okay, so I really hope you kind of enjoyed just my little mini tutorial and just me kind of giving some of my thoughts about autism acceptance and how artistry and makeup like this kind of can relate so strongly to me. And I hope it inspires you or inspires someone else to get into autism acceptance, and also finding your own ways to express your identity and express your struggles as well, and express how you want to be seen and how you want to define your own identity, because this is what this has done for me. And I think the butterflies as well show that, especially for me. For me, autistic pride and autism acceptance means freedom. And to me, there's hardly anything more precious than that. So thank you all again for watching. I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments or in the chat about what you think of some of my musings, really. And if you would be so kind, please let me know what you think of my face. It's not perfect, but I am proud of her. And as I say, happy mistakes, defining ourselves, is really important to me, and is really the key here. So thank you so much for watching, and please stick around for the rest of the stream. I know there's even more amazing autistic advocates coming up, who have got some very important things to tell you. So take care, stay safe, bye.